up. Getting a bit full? There's something nice about, though, when you can just give up in a way and just let something begin to float in and not have to understand it absolutely, and just to take in what you can. It reminds me of a story. It's all about me. I think I've learned that from Arlene. It's all about me. And Dennis Leary, who's, I think, a really great Feldenkrais teacher, and he was at our training. And he was giving me an FI. Oh, the poor man. But this is where a lack of communication comes from, in a way, you know. So I was at the stage in my training where I thought, if my shoulder moves, if they move, then my pelvis has to move, my knee has to move. So I can just imagine poor Dennis has got his hands on me, and as soon as he moved one part, I start moving somewhere else. Oh, I just have to laugh when I think about it. But again, it's that idea of what, you know, we construct something, it's our latest approximation of what it is to do something, and away it goes. Anyway, can you remember your groups of 4 from yesterday when we were doing the sternum and the... Yeah, can you get back to those groups? Oh, is Karen here this afternoon? Because I've got a feeling, she is here. Don't worry. So has everyone got a group of, who hasn't got a group of 4? So Ella, there's a group down here who hasn't got, anyone else who hasn't got a group of 4 today? Anyone else? So you can work, yeah, it's just, I wanted you back because you'd been looking at one person. Okay. So for you it'll be 3, for the rest of you it will be 2. So one of you got to do this yesterday, but we're going to change it just a little bit. So the 2 people who didn't do the movement yesterday, could you organise yourself into the head circle position in sitting? So the 2 people who didn't do the movement yesterday. Oh, the operator. Oh, I haven't heard that word before. The operators. And today you're going to observe both of them. No? So today you're going to observe both people in your group. So 3 of you will be observing 3 others. Okay? Sorry? Oh, hang on. We've got 2 groups of 6. Hey, fantastic. Thanks for letting me know. So what we're doing, let me tell you what we're doing. We're sort of continuing on from yesterday. We're doing it a little bit differently. We're going to observe both of you today doing these planes of movement and then a bit of a head circle. Then we're going to do a little bit more head circle ATM. You're going to come back and observe, did it make any difference to the head circle, and then we're going to do some more hands-on. Does that, yeah? So that's the sequence we're going to be going through. So 2 of you, and feel free to be in your most comfortable position to do a head circle. So if you know it's easier to cross your legs rather than to have the soles of your feet together, or if you know you're more comfortable with your arms forward rather than back behind you, yeah, you find what suits you. Huh? Okay, so the observers, simply observe again. What are you starting to look for here? What are you starting to sort for as you observe them? So you're not doing the movement yet. They're simply observing your position, your starting position. And you know that we're going to do head circles, the observers. So does that colour, in a way, what you're looking for? The operator. I think we should get out operating tables, you know. You feel free. So as I said, you're simply observing them in sitting with knowing in the background that you're going to observe them doing a head circle. You're observing both. Yeah, so you're observing both of them. Yeah, so we're doing this more in a little team today rather than... Okay, so now the two observers are going to have a guess before you see them do anything. From this position, do you think it would be easier for the person to do this plane of action? Yeah? This plane of action? Or this plane of action? Yeah. And feel free to go on what I would say is something in your gut just says, I think it would be this. Might be where they are on their pelvis that gives you an idea of that. Are they talking about you, Trish? And Trish, feel free if you want to know what they're saying, ask them what they're saying. Okay, so you've got a guess, a guesstimate of what you think it will be. Okay, so now the people who are doing, stay in sitting, and without thinking, do one plane of action. Just one. So you're not doing a head circle, you're doing one plane of action. And as they're doing it, we're going to add a little bit other thing for you to add into this rather than, you know, we've got the weight shift, we've got how much of them is involved in the movement, we've got what's the quality of the movement. Could you add in what do you think they're doing with their eyes? What do you think they're doing with their eyes? So do their eyes look as if they're sort of following along for the ride? As if they're leading the movement? Good. Okay, do another plane of action. You decide which one you're going to do. But again, so you're still looking for the same things, but you're just noticing what do they do with their eyes and their head. So do they want to have their eyes open? Do they want to have their eyes closed? And even if their eyes are closed, you'll be able to see if there's activity going on there. So does their weight shift? Okay, have a pause. Now, we're going to change just one thing. If you can see the person that you're observing is not shifting weight on their pelvis, is there anyone you're observing who isn't really shifting weight on their pelvis easily? Yeah? Get them to change. Either sitting on a chair, put them on something, make sure that something is happening in their pelvis. So, yeah? Yeah. Okay, third plane of action. And really notice they've chosen the order. Huh? So are you noticing anything about that choice that they've made, about the order of the planes of movement they've chosen? You're doing your last plane of action, Carol, whichever one you haven't done. So you're not doing a head circle, you're not doing a head circle. I'm not talking to you, Trish. You're doing your final plane of action. Okay. So now a few times, just do a couple of head circles. And again, really watch what their eyes are doing, what their head's doing, where their weight is shifting, how much of themselves they're involving. And it's often really interesting to see the plane of action that their head's doing, and does their pelvis know it? That's plenty. So we've just got a bit of an idea. Okay, swap over. Swap over. You're going to be now the doers, other two are the observers. And again, the doers, feel free. You can have your legs crossed, you can have the soles of your feet together, you can have your arms behind, you can have them in front, wherever you're comfortable. And the observers are simply going to have a look at them and go, what plane of movement do I think would be easiest? And I'll give you a big clue. The pelvis gives you a big clue. Position of your pelvis. What they feel would be available to move in your pelvis. Okay, so now people who are doing, choose a plane of action to do. You're just choosing one plane of action, Glenn. Yeah, and then doing it. And really notice, as I said, the quality is all about the range of the movement they do. Is their breathing easy? Is it reversible? Great. And then have a pause. And do the second plane of movement, whichever one you want. And really look for the distribution of movement. What's happening in their pelvis and also what's happening in their feet. In their arms. Again, really just watching what are their eyes and their head doing. And it's going to be very interesting in the ATM tomorrow how some of you are going to do it. Pause again. So often it's really nice to have two people to observe so you can just pick up different things. Okay, third one, third plane of movement. Where does their weight go? Where does their pelvis, how does their pelvis know their head? Their feet know their head. Their arms know their head. And pause. And then you can do the head circles. Just a couple, one direction. And really be interested, which way do they go when they start the head circle? Where do they start? What's leading the movement? It is a head circle. What's leading the movement? Okay, that's plenty. Go to your mat. Right.